All right, let's talk about something truly special today. We're diving into a beautiful and incredibly powerful prayer known as the Doa Kanzul Arsy. Now, its name literally translates to the treasure of the throne, which is just an amazing title, right? And for centuries, it's been a prayer that people turn to when they need it most.
And the prayer just dives right in with these profound declarations. In Arabic, it's al-Malik al-Haq al-Mubin. These words, they immediately set a tone of complete awe. They focus your mind on the absolute power and reality of God. It's a really powerful way to enter that state of devotion.
So, at its very heart, the Doa Kanzul Arsy is a deeply revered supplication. You'll often hear it called a prayer for protection from hardship. It's really become this spiritual tool that people reach for when they're navigating life's biggest challenges. But, it's so much more than just a simple ask for help. It's a whole act of worship. And it's structured in this really specific way. It's a sequence that first praises God, then reaffirms his absolute oneness, and then pays this deep respect to all of the prophets. And that very structure is seen as the key to its incredible power.
Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. The prayer's history. When you start to trace where these words actually came from, it brings up this fascinating question that kind of shapes how different scholars view it today.
I mean, you'd think, right? A prayer that is held in such high regard, surely you'd find it in the main primary sources of Islamic tradition. But, well, the answer isn't quite that simple, and it actually tells us a lot about the beautiful diversity of devotional practices in the faith.
So here's the thing. The Doa Kanzul Arsy isn't found in the Quran or in the main collections of hadith, the Kutubu Sitta, the recorded sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad. Instead, you find its roots deeply embedded in the traditions of Sufism, popping up in these devotional books put together by Sufi masters over many, many centuries.
So, this is the crucial point. Even though it doesn't have that direct scriptural origin, the vast majority of scholars say it is absolutely permissible to recite. And why is that? Well, it's because its content is seen as completely pure. It contains nothing but praise for God, affirming his oneness and honoring his prophets, all things that are central pillars of the faith.
Okay, so let's break down the prayer itself to really get what makes its words so spiritually powerful. You can think of it as being built on three fundamental pillars that give it this unique strength and character. So first up, it's grounded in Tawhid, which is the absolute core belief in God's oneness. Second, it honors the prophets. And third, built on that solid foundation of praise, it presents this really heartfelt plea for protection and for relief. You can see how each part just flows so logically into the next. Now we get to probably the most distinctive theological idea in this prayer. It's a practice known as Tawasul, and it's a really profound way of approaching your supplication to God. So Tawasul is the act of seeking nearness to God by using a means of intercession. Now, this is super important. This isn't about praying to the intermediary. It's about mentioning the names of prophets or their righteous deeds as a way of asking God, by the love you have for them, please answer my prayer. It's a method that's deeply rooted in many traditions, though it is worth noting that some scholars do advise caution just to emphasize that all worship must be directed only to God. I absolutely love this analogy. Practicing Tawasul is described as being like knocking on heaven's door, but you're not showing up with empty hands. You're using the very keys, the faith, the devotion of people that are beloved to God, hoping that those same keys will open the doors of mercy for you too.
And the Doa Kanzul Arsy does this so beautifully by calling upon the stories of the prophets. It retells their trials and God's miraculous interventions, and it's essentially saying, oh God, just as you saved them in their moment of need, please save me in mine. The prayer then moves through this powerful sequence, recalling these incredible moments of divine help. It remembers when God saved the prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham, by making a raging fire feel cool and safe for him. It brings to mind the moment when Ishmael was saved from the blade in that ultimate test of faith. It invokes the incredible honor that was given to Musa, or Moses, who spoke directly with God on Mount Sinai. It references the miracle granted to Isa, or Jesus, who, by God's permission, was able to bring the dead back to life. And finally, it brings this sacred history to its conclusion, recalling when the Prophet Muhammad himself was protected from his enemies while hiding in a cave. So, with all of this deep, rich context,
how does this actually translate into people's daily lives? What are believers really hoping to receive when they recite these powerful words? Well, for those who recite the Doa Kanzul Arsy with sincere faith, there's a belief that it can bring so many spiritual benefits. We're talking everything from having your wishes granted and sins forgiven to finding help and healing and just inviting blessings and light into your life.
And, while you can, of course, recite it at any time, certain moments of the day have become traditionally linked with specific hopes. So, for example, reciting it in the morning after the voluntary Dhuha Prayer is often tied to seeking livelihood. Reciting it late at night during the Tahajjud prayer is for seeking strength when you're going through a tough time.
But at the end of the day, and this is what so many scholars will tell you, the real key isn't a specific time on the clock. It's all about the sincerity and the consistency of your heart. The most important thing is the intention and the regularity, what's known as istiqama, that you bring to this act of devotion.
And all of this leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? The incredible, enduring popularity of a prayer like this, one that's been passed down not by scripture, but from heart to heart through generations, it says something really profound. It just makes you wonder, what does this teach us about that timeless, universal human need to connect with the divine, to find hope, and to feel truly heard?
Start your journey of istiqamah today. Download the free guide in the description. Subscribe for more Islamic digital collections.